Welcome back to the best Dominion cards list, part 22. We're still in the 5 cost cards, and these are already really decent cards. Ranks 68 to 60. Rank 68, Wine Merchant. Wine Merchant is still exactly on the same rank, but that means it's basically 11 ranks better. That's quite a lot. It's 1 rank higher in the unweighted ranking. So Wine Merchant is terminal money payload as well, so this means of course it's not an amazing card, but what makes it better than the previous ones and the lower ranked ones is that you only have to play like 2 of them, and then it's really good. It's then 3 coins and a buy, and this is already really solid. If you compare it, for example, to Mandarin, this is of course way better, because especially the plus buy is handy with a lot of with the 8 coins that you get generate when you play 2 wine merchants, and it gets only better if you play more in a turn. So this is really good payload if you can play many of them. Also, of course, it works if you throne or king's court them. Then you only need even 1 wine merchant and still get the good benefit. So yeah, it's pretty decent payload, one you have to look out for, but still not amazing because it's only money. Rank 67, Outpost. Outpost went nearly as much up as Wine Merchant, 9 ranks and 8 percentage points. It has also a very small lead of 0.04 percentage points over Wine Merchant. It's still 5 ranks lower in the unweighted ranking. Yeah, so getting an extra turn is of course powerful, but that you only draw 3 cards is really a disadvantage, especially as you can't choose the 3 cards out of 5, as you normally can do when you get attacked. So this is a really disadvantage. So this means Outpost is really only worth it if you have a really strong deck, which means you either have Trash Down heavily, or you don't mind having only 3 cards because you have either draw up to X or something like Menagerie, or you can set up your next turn with Scheme or with Alchemist. These are several things that makes Outpost basically like a normal extra turn, so really strong. As engines got stronger over the years, of course, Outpost went up year after year, and so deservingly is higher than it's ever before. Rank 66, Band of Misfits. Band of Misfits continues to stay at around the same rank, but lost over 4 percentage points. It's 3 ranks higher in the unrated ranking. Yeah, Band of Misfits of course depends on the other cards on the supply. It's of course great when there are very few 5 costs. It also shines when the 4 cost that you want with 5 is really limited use. So like a C hack, if you have open 5-2 and there's a C hack on the board, Band of Misfits is a great opener, as you can play it as something different when the curses are gone, or something like Remake. Play it as Remake early on, and then you can use it as a cantrip or village or whatever else is on the board later. So this is really strong on a 5. Band of Misfits is really strong on a 5-2 opening when you want a 4 cost anyway, and especially if it has limited use. But it's still not that great, because normally 5 cost cards are just stronger, and paying 5 for a 4 cost card is often not really worth it. Rank 65, In. In also loses 1 rank and over 4 percentage points, just like Band of Misfits. It has only a small lead of 0.05 percentage points over it. It is 4 ranks lower in the unweighted ranking. So 2 cards to action, discard 2 cards is not that great of an effect. It's the cycling is worse than a warehouse, and you pay a lot more for it just to get 2 actions. It's way worse, of course, if you compare it also to Bazaar. But The strong effect is of course the bottom part. So whenever you, for example, have seen all your villages already early in the shuffle and all your terminals are late in the are still coming up, buying an inn just can do amazing work. Or if you already seen all your strong cards or your strong terminals already in the shuffle and want to play them again, buying an inn and shuffle them all back is also really strong. So this means you have to really track your deck. You have to know which card you've seen, which cards are coming up. Can really set up really strong turns, even in sloggy decks or in decks where or when your deck is really thick. Shuffling in all the good cards that you have can, especially if there are attacks that stack or something, an inn can do amazing work. So like shuffling in all your torturers or something. Um, so this can be very powerful. You only have to need to at least track your deck a little bit. So yeah, look out for that, and buying an inn can really do a lot of work. Rank 64, Capital. Capital is the third Empires card in this list. It's 2 ranks higher in the unrated ranking. Yeah, Capital basically does give no money and only a buy. But there are a lot of things that combo with it, that you get 6 coins immediately. So if you have a crown, you double the money and pay it only off once. Or if you have a herbalist, you don't have to even take the debt. Or if you have a fortune, you double the money and still only take the debt once. So there are a lot of combos that work with capital. Also, if you want early on a high cost card like a forge or something, then capital can do amazing work getting that card early, and you don't mind paying off that debt. So there are a lot of uses still. It's still often not that amazing. You get it if it's the only plus buy, especially if it's not because it's not terminal. The combos with it are not that often, so but still makes it a decent card in some boards. Rank 63, Plunder. Again, there are 2 Empires cards in a row. Plunder is 2 ranks higher in the unrated ranking as well. Yeah, Plunder is a non-terminal monument. And Monument is a strong 4-cost card. Why is Plunder ranked so low? Mainly because it's of course the bottom card of a pile, so if you want Plunders, you have to get encampments. The good thing is of course that encampments are really good, but if you have no plus buy, for example, you will pay a lot for a 2-cost card that it's not that gets returned as long as you have no plunder. So you either have to not play them for a while until you see the plunder, or you have to get a gold early on to be able to play the encampments, or you of course need a lot of buys to get to the plunder, to get a lot of encampments and then get the plunder. So it's a little bit tricky. It helps of course that the encampment is a really good card, and Plunder is an encampment deck way better than Gold, of course, because you draw a lot, you don't need that much money, and the points matter a lot. So it can be a decent card. I can see it being ranked higher next year. But the problem is, of course, there's really tough competition in the 5-cost card list. So yeah, but it's still a pretty solid, strong card in a lot of boards, I think. Rank 62, Trade. Trade is a big winner, making a huge jump of 16 ranks and 16 percentage points. It is 3 ranks lower in the unrated ranking. So if you compare Trade with its namesake Trading Post, so Trading Post is terminal. This is a disadvantage and gives you less of a benefit per play basically than a single trade. But of course, you can buy a trading post only once and can play it over and over again, and it thins your card while trade doesn't. What? Because trading post is terminal, and you have to play it over and over again. Trade is really good in terminal draw big money, or any draw big money, like a magpie big money, for example. Then you have 5 easily and have some estates or in hand easily. Trade works also really well against even cursing, because you have 5 as well easily in turns where you play your terminal draw card, and can easily trash the 2 curses for 2 more silvers. This works wonders and can sustain even against a strong cursing attack. So this is one of the biggest boosts recently for terminal draw big money, or for big money in general. But still, even in engines, when it's the only trashing, in engines you also need terminal draw or any draw, and then getting the draw early and trashing the estates into silvers is just like you do with, for example, a check of all trades without having a check of all trades in your deck. So this can do also really good work in an engine. The big disadvantage, as I already mentioned, is of course that it doesn't really thin, so your engine has to be able to handle 10 bad cards, even if the 10 bad cards are silvers. Rank 61, Vault. After a big winner, there's another big loser. Vault lost 13 ranks, even more than the 12 ranks it lost 2 years ago. It is 2 ranks higher in the unweighted ranking. Yeah, Vault was once rated 12, so it lost quite a lot of ranks in the last couple of years. This is mainly because Vault is mainly good in as a terminal draw big money card, because it doesn't stall, and the formula Vault plus gold equals province still exists. But as Ancient got stronger, and there are a lot of discard attacks that really hurt Vault. Really shut down Vault. That can be played in an engine to play against Vault. Makes Vault way worse than it used to be. So if you have an engine and there's a discard attack, you really can be certain that you win against a Vault Big Money engine, or not engine, Vault Big Money deck. And as Vault Big Money is played very rarely now, this means of course his Vault is way worse. Of course it can also be used as in an engine, especially if of course this is the only draw. It's expensive for +2 cards, but you can still get some more money when you're greening. But the best use is still probably to use it if you're overdrawing. You can discard some cards and redraw them back again and have a lot more money. Also, if there's an engine possible, with even against something like cursing or if there's weak trashing, you can discard your estates or curses or ruins or whatever for money. I mean, this is rare because engines without trashing and using Vault for your only draw is kind of tough. Mostly impossible. But there are some decks exist still where this can be used, especially if there's another draw card and you just use one Vault to get a little bit more of draw and money. So yeah, the uses for Vault are rarer, and this is deservingly so that Vault lost a lot of ranks. And rank 60, Trading Post. Trading Post won a lot of ranks, just like its namesake Trade, but not quite as much. 7 ranks, and it is 6 ranks lower in the unweighted ranking. Yeah, I've talked already about the differences in Trade and Trading Post. If you have 5-2, opening Trading Post is often a must. It's just amazing as an opener. it's still low because it costs 5 and you can't really open with it a lot of times. So if you have 4 free and add like 2 silvers to be able to hit Trading Post, you have now 12 cards that doesn't draw, and then Trading Post is of course weaker, especially if you don't draw estates early on with it. It's, I mean, it's still deservedly costing 5, because if it would cost 4, I mean, it would be maybe even stronger than Remake, at least at a similar strength. So this is really strong card as an opener or early on, but of course it gets weaker and weaker as the game goes on, as treasures in general. So this makes it really hard to rank as well. I could see it ranked higher because of its strength as an opener, but how do you compare it against cards that are strong throughout the game or useful throughout the game? This is really tough. Still, I think this is a really powerful card. Don't be fooled about its low ranking. It's a really strong card if you have 5/2 and can open with Trading Post. So these were again 9 cards. Thanks again for watching. Leave some comments. What do you think about the the cards that went up a lot of ranks in this part? And what do you think about wall dropping a lot of ranks? And what do you think appears in the next part? See you soon. Bye.